Recording. Woo.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining. This is our weekly meeting for Mozilla Mobile Support. Woohoo! I'm going to put the agenda in the channel, except that I am not in the channel, so I will have to join first, and then I'll put it into SUMO, which is where we chat about all of these things and where we talk about the meetings that we're having for people who aren't able to join using video. We were just discussing our video issues for the week. It's been a little flaky, so if people drop off, it's not because they're leaving, it's because of this technology we use for our video conferences. I'll wait just one more minute since I just put that into the channel to see if people join us. Please put your notes into the Etherpad. Things you want to discuss this week. It's a little thin. I haven't added very much. I was in meetings all morning. But I wanted to thank everyone for the great Air Mozilla meeting that we had last week, and for everyone telling their stories about the Firefox OS devices that they're using and or that they have stopped using. Tyler. And I chatted with Tyler a little bit after our meeting because I forgot to really go back and say, well, what made you change back to Android? And Tyler, I think you said speed. You're using an HTC One, which is pretty high performance, brand new handset, which is quite expensive comparatively compared to any of the devices we have for Firefox OS. Probably 4 times, 6 times the price. I don't know. So that was one of your reasons. And I was asking if it was the keyboard because I know you have talked about the keyboard. But you also mentioned some browser limitations too, right? Some performance and browser limitations because you're used to Firefox for Android, which is the best mobile browser that there is.
Exactly.
Hey, Kadir, welcome.
Hey, sorry for being late. I've been on a meeting.
No problem. Sorry, Tyler, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I mean the Firefox OS was awesome, and like you said, I mean the HTC One is a $600 phone, and Firefox OS runs on $100 phones. So I mean that's obviously going to be something that you have to compare with it. Uh, Main reason I switched was I used it as my main phone for roughly 6 months, and it was awesome, but I've just found myself limited so much by what I could do with the availability of apps, the speed. The browser wasn't all that awesome, and then my T-Mobile plan kind of sucked that I had it on, and the 3G speeds weren't quite there. So it was just a whole bunch of minor issues. Not a lot of them related to the platform, other than some speed and apps.
Okay, great. That's helpful. Right,
Yeah.
browser limitations. Go ahead, Roland.
I was just going to say hardware does matter, right? And I'm encouraged by the fact that our devices are getting better. I mean, I face the same issues that Tyler is facing, but I haven't switched because this way I don't spend all my life looking at my mobile phone. I haven't switched back. I'm still using my Geeks phone.
Right, you're using the key on.
Yeah.
Hi, Ebi. Welcome. We're just following up on our conversation last week about, we went around the room and everyone talked about their using Firefox OS devices, what device they're using, and how much they use it. And so we're just following up on some of the reasons people have moved back to more expensive phones, particularly people who are testing and using Firefox for Android to some extent. I think Ralph's, has started using Firefox OS as his primary device. This week he's not here today. He's in Colombia doing some testing. But he takes a lot of pictures and wants to post them on websites with his phone, and that's actually a little bit challenging to do, particularly for Facebook on Firefox OS right now. So that's a use case we really need to resolve in the upcoming releases. So that's another point I think we should have made when we talked last week about, why wouldn't you use it as your primary device? So speed, some browser limitations, image limitations. eBuy, you're not using it as a primary.
I don't have one anymore.
Oh, okay.
Poor eBuy, he gave it to me. That's why he's not using it anymore.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He did give it to you. Okay.
Roland, I just wanted to ask you something because I'm also using now the Kion as my primary device. I used to use the ZTE, but I switched back to Kion, and I've been having some difficulties lately with the battery. I mean, it's like it's dead after 3 hours. After 3 hours, the phone, yeah. So I was wondering if you encountered the same issues or if you, I don't know.
It depends
No,
on
I
the
haven't.
apps.
I thought it would, my battery actually lasts longer than my expensive phones that I also carry around for my Android work. And I thought once I turned on my Gmail, when I get a Gmail email message about once every minute, I thought for sure that it would kill it, but I guess it hasn't because it doesn't run in the background. So no, I've noticed extremely good battery, unexpectedly good battery life. Maybe if I was running WhatsApp or Skype or any of these other IM apps that people want us to run, to port, maybe I would notice. Are you running any of those, like WhatsApp? Sorry,
No.
email in the background or?
No, nothing. I don't think
Really?
it came here. I don't know what's happening. And another thing I've noticed is that my apps are disappearing. It's just that I don't have some apps I downloaded. For example, Facebook. I don't have it anymore. And it's already the second time I've noticed this because I've already downloaded the Z Maps. I don't know if you've ever used it. I just wanted to compare it with the Here Maps. And again, after switching off and switching on the phone, it disappeared. So it is a bit weird. I'm just testing it these days because I've noticed it like 2 days ago, and we'll see. But just wanted to get your opinion and see if it happened.
I only have one app installed, Twitter, which I actually use a lot, and it hasn't disappeared ever.
Mm-hmm.
Armina, I have experienced the same thing. I'm trying to actually figure out what it is so I can report it. So far, it's very intermittent. But what's happened? I mean, I'm talking about the battery time thing. Like that's huge. Sometimes it will last for a week. Sometimes it will last only for 2 or 3 hours. And I think it depends on what you have open at that time. And it can be even a settings page. Like you open a settings page, you leave that open, and it drains your battery. But I'm still trying to narrow that down because otherwise I think the bug report wouldn't be very helpful. It's just like sometimes my battery is dead within 2 hours or 3 hours. It's very weird. Like sometimes you can leave it on for a week. It actually works.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I was surprised because before it used to be like I used it for a couple of days and it was okay, and now it's just.
It might be related to connectivity. I don't know exactly, but I also have a lot of issues with connectivity, like where it will randomly, sometimes just for a few seconds, sometimes for good, just lose any connectivity, 3G I mean, or data connectivity. And then the only way to turn it on again, like get the data back, is to restart it. That's also one thing I haven't reported yet because I can't figure out like when it is happening or how it is happening.
Right. Well, we've seen that dropping 3G since the very first builds that we've had on Kion, unfortunately, and also on Peak. I know you're using Peak.
Yeah.
But yeah, apps disappearing. That I know that the battery life doesn't seem the same to me for my Geeks phone versus the ZTE device.
I had the same though. Like when I was using the ZTE before, it was the same. Sometimes it would last for a week, and sometimes it would be down the battery will be dead within 2 to 3 hours.
Oh, on 1.0.1?
I think it was 1.1, but I'm not quite sure. The one I didn't flash that one actually. That was the one that I got from IT, and I've already given that to a contributor to a localizer. So I don't know exactly.
Okay, well, thanks for bringing up those issues, Romina. I mean, it's always worth it, and engineering will always say, please just file a bug, and then we'll dupe it out if there's something existing already. Just try to give as much as you can about the environment that you're using the device, the build, and then the steps to reproduce if you can recall something about what you think is going on, and that's helpful to them. Usually they're triaging these bugs so constantly that they'll know that there's another one that's where it's being worked on. So just file away. Don't feel afraid to file bugs. They'd rather have something on file that's duplicate rather than nothing. So
Yeah.
I know that you all know that, but this is for them. I see Yusuf Yalam is on the Etherpad. I don't know if you're on the call and you want to talk about your use of your phone or put something in IRC, but I welcome you to do that. We had some storytelling last week on Air Mozilla about our use of Firefox OS phones, so we were just following up on that. The other thing I have in the agenda, which we skipped over QA, but there is a test day on August 30th for the new start screen in Firefox 26 Nightly. So details will be coming, but watch QA has a test day calendar over on QMO, quality.mozilla.org. They have a calendar of all of their events, so you can find out more about it there, and then I'm sure they'll post details about what exactly to test and what channel to get into to get help with that. So thanks, Roland, putting that. Did you have anything to add to that?
Oh no, just to think that testing is very will be very useful for this particular feature because it's one of the biggest front end feature changes to Firefox for Android ever since the Java rewrite of the front end. So there might be little bugs that you as a normal person would notice that an engineer would not notice. So you don't have to have that much of a skill level. I mean, obviously, if you're Tyler, who started off testing and you know all about Bugzilla, we want you to do the testing. But any beginners are welcome and encouraged. This is how you, by testing software, is how you learn about it. And it will also help you with your SUMO work because it will help you with when we release this, currently projected to be Firefox 26. You'll have to write KB articles or have to revise screenshots about anything to do with the home screen and the Awesome bar, probably. Most of that will be touched. So
what are the changes? Give us a little teaser.
Oh, it looks totally different.
Oh.
I don't know if I can quickly.
Tell us, Tyler.
Pretty much. Before, one of the big issues with Firefox or Android is you had a hard time finding the history and the bookmarks from the UI. You had to click on the URL bar and then you had to drop down. Now from your home page, and I need to open up Nightly, I don't know where it is, you can just scroll off to the side. Now, you'll open with your bookmarks right in front of you, and then you can scroll off to the side and there's your history, and then you scroll off to the other side and there's your reading list. So it's all visible right there from the homepage. And it's also nicer, cleaner. It's easier to add and remove bookmarks from your homepage. So those people that didn't like the top sites.
Can you share your screen right now?
Well, it's.
Oh, you're looking at it. I thought you were looking at it.
So I don't know how visible that actually is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can swipe off to the side, swipe off to the other side.
Ooh, very cool.
So it's nice. There's still some bugs that need to be worked out. Possible performance issues on some slower devices. So if you have a slower Gingerbread or an RV6 device, file a bug. But yeah, it's really awesome, and that should really help the UX of Firefox for Android.
Yeah, because our feedback is that people don't like the current implementation of the home screen or the start screen, the screen that's displayed when you start. So this will address most of those problems.
Yay! Good job, you guys. Like, this is freaking awesome. I mean, this is one of those things that's, you know, really hard to communicate across teams. So I really appreciate your hard work on this problem. We see a lot of people saying, "Where are my bookmarks?" And if you put them, this is obviously going to fix that problem. Bookmarking is what people want to do. Putting it right in their face is a great idea. People, and with Firefox OS too, you hand them a phone and show them the browser, and people don't know to tap in the awesome screen to get started. Unfortunately, you're not by default there. If you are, what you see is a keyboard, which is confusing. So I think this is a great thing. So thanks for your hard work on this. I look forward to testing it myself.
Yeah, and this is also a way to get involved. Like by being involved in the test day, you can. We have several more weeks of changes. We can change it based on your input. This is the best time to get involved.
Yes, you can influence this feature, so that's cool. All right, great stuff. Okay, the only other thing I had in B2G land was feature documentation for version 1.1. So we got to get on this. We got to get a list out on Contributor Discuss that gives people a sense of what needs to be covered. As we've discussed before, it's a lot of the big new features is multimedia messaging. So we have a help article day tomorrow. Let's do it. Let's document 1.1. If you're running 1.1 and you have thoughts on things that are new and confusing that should have documentation, you can post those to our forums, or you can start a stub article or put something in the FAQ and say, or in a discussion tab for the FAQ and say, hey, this should be added for 1.1. I'm just going to take a note. But I think MMS is the biggest one. And we'll have some cool things for email. Roland, I know you worked on those articles. Just, I think, some new attachments that we can read for email. And some downloading in the browser. So get your Geeks phones updated to version 1.1 and help document those. Other things for B2G or Firefox OS support for this week that we should talk about? Okay, well, as always, thanks to all the contributors answering questions. We have loads of questions and a lot of discussion going on in Mozilla Hispano forums and the Polish forums for Firefox OS this week. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for keeping those discussions going and escalating big issues back to us so we can help get them resolved. Kadir?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were already done because I had added one thing that to the anything else part. Are we there yet, or did I misunderstand
we're not there
that?
yet.
Okay, then I misunderstood you. Sorry.
So somebody put in the feedback for ZTE Open from eBay. Maybe this was Yusuf. Let me check the channel. I don't see him in the channel, but thank you for that link. Everyone take a look at that. We did, I guess, sell out phones in the USA and in the UK, so a couple of thousand phones over the weekend, which is pretty exciting. Hopefully you all got yours ordered. And Firefox for Android, you want to give the status update, Roland, Tyler? Thanks for I see your blog link. Thanks for blogging.
So yes, I somehow managed to keep blogging. Yay!
Yay! That's great.
Firefox 23 is smooth. We have the ongoing Android 4.3 Nexus 10 tablet issue, which hasn't been fixed yet, but hopefully we'll fix soon. Swarnava is working on Firefox 24 sharing article. We have a help article today, tomorrow, and I will post a link of other edits that we can do. So we're in good shape for Firefox 24 articles. So thank you, Swarnava, and thank you to everyone who's helping out with the research. And which was, we had several people helping out with the research, and Swarnava helping with the articles. So thank you. Oh yeah, and of course the QA testing thing for Nightly, which we've discussed over and over about this awesome new start screen work that's in currently Firefox 26 Nightly.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for driving that. Glad to hear we're ready for 24. Okay. Anything else? Feedback on how you felt the Air Mozilla went last week?
I sure went awesome because I wasn't there.
We missed you. Anyone else that watched it? I thought it went well. I think this might be from SatDev. Thanks again for doing the administrative legwork to make this happen. I think a once monthly Air Mozilla is really great for our visibility to welcome people to the project. And it was great to have a new contributor, Andrea, here with us, and to get a recording of all of us talking about Firefox OS. So I think we should do it again next month.
I also think we should have regular meetings like this, you know, with everybody saying it's his fault on the phone he's using and like issues that he's encountered and things he likes, etc. I think it was very, very useful, and I liked it.
Great.
Yeah, I think as we launch new devices in new countries and new markets and new carriers, that this would be great.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, and it's excellent to see, you know, also I think the breadth we have on our small team across how many countries and devices, that we do have people using all of the possible devices in a lot of different regions. So that's very good for our ability to get stuff done as a support team. All right, well, good. I'm glad that was a good topic. It was off the top of my head. I'm glad it went well. You all did well. It was like a,
but I think
like a pop quiz.
Once a month check-in on new devices and new markets and people using them and their feedback would be great.
Yeah. Well, I think let's make it a regular thing. So thanks again to SatDev for setting that up. I would never get through the administrative Air Mozilla thing without his help. Okay, Kadir, your turn. You're anything else? What is it? Votes for mobile.
Yeah, it's a cryptic line there, but what it essentially means is I looked into the voting for articles, helpful votes. That's a very important measure for us, and it turns out that about 15% of the votes that we get on articles are from mobile devices now. That's huge.
1-5.
Sorry?
1-5 or 5-0?
1-5.
Okay.
15.
That is huge. Okay.
That's still huge. It's huge, especially compared to the overall rate of visitors to SUMO. So about 6% of the visitors to SUMO are on mobile, but they are much more active when it comes to voting. And of course, we only have currently, if you look at the KPI, that's one metric. One helpful metric, so it also incorporates stuff from mobile and desktop, and so it's impacting our KPI right now, the mobile votes. And interestingly, there are people who use the mobile phones find our articles much more helpful than people on desktop by, on average, about 10 percentage points. That's huge. So the average helpfulness rating is 77% on mobile. I want to look deeper into that, understand why people are voting more on mobile. That's really interesting to look at. But it's interesting to see that they are also finding the articles much more helpful, which usually what we have seen is that that is a function of how much the article applies to them, not about the quality of the article. That actually has a surprisingly little effect. But whether the article they found actually is about their problem or a different problem, that's very much rated with the helpfulness. And it could be, of course, that is because we have fewer articles on mobile. We have about 5 times more articles on desktop. But it could also be that they really find the navigation more helpful on mobile, and that the information architecture works a lot better on mobile. That could be, so I don't want to draw too many conclusions, but it's just interesting to see. The helpfulness there is at 77.5%, that is a fact. Wow.
That's freaking
I thought I would.
Well,
I thought I
would
would share that
thank
with you
Rob
guys.
and Sumo Dev then, because
Yeah.
obviously, and you guys, Ricky and sorry, not yeah, Kadir and Ibai, all these people who've given like awesome feedback on that kind of mobile UX.
Yeah, I think it certainly points to the mobile optimizations we've done. But there's probably, like you say, a lot of more interesting stuff in there about people just voting more when they're on mobile.
I just wonder, can I track that through Google Analytics in a public graph?
Yes.
Thing I can track?
Well, yeah, all of that is actually available in Google Analytics, and we can share that now when we
Dashboard.
attach.
I carry around a Nexus 7 tablet with all my real-time Google graphs, so people, if they ask me questions, I'll just show them the tablet.
Yeah, so that's definitely available data that we can. We should look more into that. So far, mobile has always been the mobile share on SUMO has been minuscule, so it's been hard to actually get too much out of it. But that has definitely changed over the last year. So it's also pointing towards. Well, it's paying off that we spend time on mobile, getting the website ready for mobile. Back then, we didn't actually have the visitor rate to justify that, but we knew that we would get there. And yeah, well, we are there, and we are getting there. So this is great. It's great to see that it's paying off.
And there isn't a public place we can see these numbers?
So no, this is data from Google Analytics, but we are now able to get real-time data from Google Analytics on Google Docs. We can share data on Google Docs.
Okay.
So if you want to set up a specific dashboard to see the helpfulness rating for mobile, we will be able to do that. But of course, this is such important information that we also should have that on SUMO itself. So I'll look into being able to give that. Yes, on the dashboards that we have there on the KB dashboard, we have that. There are discussions about being able to segment this by product. We should be able to do that because as a contributor, you should be able to focus on one product at a time, especially if you're a localizer. So I think it will make sense to have that data, especially now that we have so much of it.
Okay, I have to go.
Yes, we're over time, so if you have to leave, please go. This is such an interesting topic, though.
Okay, I'm
have
stopping
a couple
the
more
recording.
questions. Okay, you can stop. Thanks, Roland.
I just wanted to say on that, what Ibai also pushed on Google Analytics. So again, thank you to Ibai. Right, without Ibai's efforts, we would not have this Google Analytics. And